Welcome to NFL Talk. I'm Liam, and as always, excited to jump into it.
I'm Olivia, ready to break down one of the most talked about games.
That Chiefs-Bucks matchup, that game really did have everything. A nail-biter finish, incredible individual performances, and even some heartwarming storylines woven in.
It did.
Where do we even begin?
Well, I think you got to start with the ending, right?
Oh, yeah.
Buccaneers nearly pulling off the upset with that last-minute touchdown.
I know.
Talk about tension.
That's practically yelling at my TV. But what about that decision to kick the extra point instead of going for two?
Right.
Do you think they made the right call?
It's a tough one. On the one hand, a successful two-point conversion wins the game right then and there, but the risk is huge.
Yeah.
If you fail, it's game over.
But kicking the extra point sends you to overtime,
Yeah.
giving you a chance to regroup and potentially win it there.
Exactly, and you have to factor in the momentum shift. The Chiefs had just scored, so maybe the Bucs felt like overtime gave them a better chance to regain control.
And, of course, we can't talk about this game without mentioning Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, come on.
To deliver that kind of performance on a bum ankle, it's just unreal.
It really speaks to his talent and that mental toughness. You could see the pain every time he planted his foot, but he never let it affect his play.
He even said that when he landed awkwardly, the fear of the pain based on past injuries was almost worse than the actual injury.
Oh, wow.
But he pushed through it, racking up 291 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a perfect completion rate in overtime.
That's what separates the good from the great. The ability to stay focused and execute under pressure even when you're not 100%.
He made it look effortless at times, especially those throws to DeAndre Hopkins. What a debut for Hopkins, by the way.
Yeah.
8 catches, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I loved that touchdown grab he made in triple coverage.
Oh, yeah?
And who could forget remember the Titans touchdown dance? He definitely brought some energy to the Chiefs offense.
But let's not forget the other offensive weapons on that team. Kareem Hunt had a monster game with 106 rushing yards and the game-winning touchdown.
Absolutely, and Travis Kelce was his usual reliable self, hauling in 14 catches for 100 yards. Those two are a quarterback's dream.
Well, yeah, sure.
But I think we need to talk about the Chiefs' defense, too.
You're right. Holding the Buccaneers to just 200 passing yards and shutting down their running game,
Right.
especially with some key players out due to injuries. That's a statement performance.
It really makes you wonder, how good can this defense be when they're at full strength?
That's a scary thought for the rest of the league. If their defense continues to play at this level, the Chiefs are going to be tough to beat.
No doubt about it. But we can't forget about the Buccaneers. They may be on a losing streak, but they showed some real fight in this game.
That last-minute drive was a perfect example. They could have easily given up, but they kept pushing and nearly pulled off the upset.
That kind of resilience is important, especially when you're struggling.
Yeah.
It tells me that this Bucs team hasn't given up on the season. They're still hungry.
Speaking of hunger, did you see that touchdown celebration from Rachaad White?
Oh, yeah.
Almost throwing the ball into the second deck. You could feel the emotion pouring out of him.
This was his first time playing Arrowhead Stadium, even though he grew up nearby.
Wow.
Imagine the feeling of finally playing on that field after not even being able to afford tickets as a kid.
And scoring a touchdown in front of a home crowd, no less.
Yeah.
You have to love those kinds of stories. The personal journeys interwoven with the drama of the game itself.
Absolutely. It adds another layer to the experience, reminds us that these are real people with real emotions behind those helmets.
And it's not just White Testica. Think about DeAndre Hopkins playing his first home game for the Chiefs after being traded from the Titans.
2 players, 2 different journeys, but both making a mark in their own way. It's those little details that make these games so much more than just wins and losses.
You know, we could probably talk about these homecoming stories all day, but there's so much more to unpack about this game. Maybe we should move on to some of the individual performances that stood out.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Well, we already touched on Mahomes and Hopkins, but what about Travis Kelce?
Oh, man, he's just a machine. 14 catches for 100 yards. Seems like he's always open. Mahomes knows exactly where to find him in those clutch moments.
Their chemistry is undeniable. It's almost like they have their own secret language out there on the field.
I wonder if opposing defenses are starting to feel helpless against Kelce. How do you even game plan for a player who's that consistently reliable?
It's a tough task, for sure. You try to double team him, but then that opens up space for other receivers. It's a pick your poison situation.
Speaking of tough tasks, let's circle back to the Buccaneers' defense. They were facing a powerhouse offense with Mahomes at the helm, and they were missing key players due to injuries.
And yet they still managed to hold the Chiefs to a relatively low score. They definitely had their moments, especially in that final drive.
That final drive was a roller coaster. It gave the Buccaneers a real shot at winning. To come that close and still fall short must be heartbreaking.
I'm sure it is. But it also shows that they haven't lost their fighting spirit. They're still battling even with a losing streak hanging over them.
That resilience is something you can't teach. It has to come from within. And I think it says a lot about the Buccaneers coaching staff and the leadership in their locker room.
Agreed. They're not letting adversity define them. They're using it as fuel.
And who knows, maybe this near win will be the spark they need to turn their season around. It could be a turning point for them.
It's definitely possible. Sometimes a close loss can be a wake-up call, a reminder that you're not that far off.
It's all about learning from your mistakes and coming back stronger. And with the talent they have on that roster, the Buccaneers are still a threat in the NFC.
Absolutely. But for now, the spotlight is on the Chiefs. They're the team to beat, and they're only getting stronger.
Their winning streak is up to 14 games now. It's almost like they're on autopilot, just cruising to victory week after week.
But I'm sure they're not taking anything for granted. They know that every game is a challenge, and they have to keep pushing themselves to improve.
And that's what makes them so dangerous. They're not content with just winning. They want to dominate. They want to be remembered as one of the greatest teams of all time.
And with Mahomes leading the charge, anything is possible. He's already a legend, and he's just getting started.
It's exciting to watch him evolve as a player. He's already achieved so much, but it feels like he's just scratching the surface of his potential.
And that's what makes this season so compelling. We're witnessing greatness unfold before our eyes.
I have a feeling this won't be the last time we're discussing a Chiefs victory on this show. They're a force to be reckoned with.
No doubt about it. This Chiefs-Bucks game was just a taste of what's to come.
So what's the one thing you'll remember most about this game? What image or moment will stick with you?
For me, it's the image of Mahomes standing tall in the pocket angle, heavily taped, delivering strike after strike. It's a testament to his unwavering determination.
Yeah, that's a great choice. It really encapsulates the grit and the determination that define this game for both sides.
It's a reminder that, in the NFL, talent alone isn't enough. You need that mental toughness, that ability to overcome adversity and perform under pressure.
And speaking of mental toughness, we can't forget about the Buccaneers and the challenges they face this season. Do you think they have what it takes to bounce back from this losing streak?
I think it all comes down to leadership. If they can rally around their veterans and maintain that fighting spirit we saw in this game, they absolutely have a chance to turn things around.
Yeah, it's a long season and anything can happen.
Right.
We've seen teams make incredible comebacks before. It's all about how they respond to these setbacks.
Exactly. And with a talented roster and a coaching staff that's clearly invested in their players, the Buccaneers shouldn't be counted out just yet.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into a game that truly had it all: drama, excitement, and inspiring performances.
It was a game that had us on the edge of our seats from start to finish.
All right.
And it just goes to show that in the NFL, you can never predict what's going to happen.
So to our listeners out there, I want to leave you with this. What did this game reveal about the future of both the Chiefs and the Buccaneers? Are the Chiefs destined for another Super Bowl run? Can the Buccaneers find a way to overcome their challenges and make a playoff push? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.